Amiable welcome to all. In this video, we are gonna see about erythropoiesis. What is erythropoiesis and the site where the erythropoiesis is being produced and process of erythropoiesis, stages of erythropoiesis. So, let's get on to the video. Before knowing what is erythropoiesis, we should know what is hematopoiesis or hemopoiesis. Hemo, the word means blood cell. Poiesis means development or production of. So, the hematopoiesis is the process of origin, development and maturation of all the blood cells. So, erythropoiesis is nothing but a process of origin, development and maturation of erythrocytes, that is RBCs. Red blood cells are a type of blood cells which is found in our blood. Leukopoiesis is also the development and maturation of leukocytes. As same of that, thrombopoiesis is the development of thrombocytes. The site of erythropoiesis. During intrauterine life, erythropoiesis first takes place in the mesoderm of yolk sac and mesoderm of the body. So this stage is referred to as mesoblastic stage. During this stage, erythropoiesis is intravascular. From 5th week of gestation, erythropoiesis takes place in liver and spleen. So this stage is preferred and named as hepatic stage. From the 5th month of intrauterine life, the bone marrow starts forming the red cells, that is RBCs. So this stage is known as medullary stage or myeloid stage. However, erythropoiesis in bone marrow is very slow in second trimester. Medullary erythropoiesis become more effective towards the end of third trimester. After birth, bone marrow becomes the sole site of erythropoiesis. That is, for the production of erythropoiesis, the bone marrow is the sole site. Extramedullary erythropoiesis is postnatal life is always considered abnormal. Till adolescent period, marrow cavity of all bones are involved in erythropoiesis, after which erythropoiesis regress in the limb bones. After the age of 20 to 30 years, erythropoiesis is mostly limited to sternum, rib, vertebrae, skull, pelvic and pectoral girdle. Next, as we could see in this tabular column, in the fetal period of 2 to 9 week, the organ of erythropoiesis where its site takes place is yolk sac. In 9 to 24 week, it is liver. In 10 to 24 week, takes place in spleen. 8 week till the after birth is lymph node. From 10 week till after birth is bone marrow. We'll see the process of erythropoiesis. Before going into it, we should know what is stem cells. Stem cells are the primary cells which are capable of self-renewal and differentiating into specialized cells. These are primary cells in the bone marrow which give rise to blood cells. So, we'll see how the primary cell, that is stem cells, is being differentiated and processed to get red cells, neutrophils, basophils and many other cells in our body. So, stem cells in bone marrow are called uncommitted pluripotent hematopoietic stem cells, which is known as PHSC. In early stages, this PHSC are not designed to form a particular type of blood cell. When these cells are designed to form a particular type of blood cells, this uncommitted pluripotent hematopoietic stem cells are being converted into a committed pluripotent hematopoietic stem cells. This committed pluripotent hematopoietic stem cells give rise to one group of blood cells. So these are of two types. That is, the committed PHSCs are of two types. They are lymphoid stem cells, LSC, and colony forming blastocytes. First, lymphoid stem cells which give rise to lymphocytes. Next type is colony forming blastocyte. It is again been classified into three types. This colony forming blastocytes which give rise to like myeloid cells. Myeloid cells are the blood cells other than lymphocytes. When grown in culture, these cells form colonies, hence the name colony forming blastocytes are being given. This different type of colony forming cells like colony forming unit erythrocyte, as the name suggests, this helps in development of erythrocytes, that is RBCs. Next, colony forming units of granulocytes also or monocytes. These cells give rise to granulocytes like neutrophil, basophil, eosinophils and monocytes. Next type is colony forming unit megakaryocytes, where platelets are being developed. So this colony forming blastocysts are being classified into three types: colony forming unit of erythrocytes, next granulocytes are monocytes, next is megakaryocytes. As in this image, we could see this pluripotent hematopoietic stem cells are being differentiated into colony forming blastocyte, and which is again further being differentiated. So in forthcoming slides, we'll see how this colony forming unit of erythrocyte is being differentiated, and we get an end product of erythrocytes, that is RBC. Next, we'll move on to cellular changes during erythropoiesis. When the cell of colony forming unit of erythrocyte pass through different stages before it reaches the last stage of production of RBC, there are so many changes which are being noticed in the cell. Likewise, cell size progressively reduces. Then the size of the nucleus, the number of nucleoli decreases, and chromatin material condenses and nucleus disappears. Appearance of hemoglobin, change in the staining properties of cytoplasm. We are going to see about stages of erythropoiesis, in which we could see a colony forming unit of erythrocyte is being differentiated into a matured RBCs. The first stage of erythropoiesis is proerythroblast, early normoblast, intermediate normoblast, late normoblast, reticulocyte and matured erythrocyte. So the time duration for conversion from proerythroblast to reticulocyte, it takes about 6 to 8 days. From proerythroblast to reticulocyte, it takes off 4 days. Reticulocyte to erythrocyte, it takes about 2 to 4 days. Now we'll see what are the stages and important events take place in that stage. First is proerythroblast. Proerythroblast is also known as megaloblast. It is the first cell derived from the colony forming unit of erythrocyte. It is very large in size with a diameter of about 20 mu. The proerythroblast does not contain hemoglobin, but the cytoplasm is basophilic in nature. The synthesis of hemoglobin starts in this stage. So the important event is synthesis of hemoglobin. The next stage is early normoblast. Early normoblast is little smaller than the proerythroblast with a diameter of 15 mu. In nucleus, the nucleoli disappear and condensation of chromatin network takes place. This early normoblast is also known as basophilic erythroblast because the cytoplasm is basophilic in nature. The third stage is intermediate normoblast. This cell size is more smaller than the early normoblast and of diameter 10 to 12 mu. The nucleus is still present, but the chromatin network shows further condensation and hemoglobin starts appearing. Intermediate normoblast is also known as polychromatic erythroblast because it stains with both acidic as well as basic stain. So the name polychromatic erythroblast comes. The fourth stage is late normoblast. The diameter of the cell decreases further to about 8 to 10 mu. The nucleus becomes very small with a very much condensed chromatin network. So in this stage where the nucleus disappear. It is also known as orthochromatic erythroblast. The cytoplasm becomes almost acidic, so it is known as orthochromatic erythroblast. The fifth stage is reticulocyte, is also known as immature RBC. It is slightly larger than matured RBC. The cytoplasm contains a reticular network or reticulum, which is formed by remnants of disintegrated organelles. Due to the reticular network, the cell is called reticulocytes, and the reticulum of the reticulocyte stains with the supravital stain. In newborn babies, the reticulocyte count is 2 to 6% of RBCs. That is, 2 to 6 reticulocytes are present for every 100 RBCs. Next, we'll see matured erythrocytes. The reticular network disappears and the cell becomes the matured RBCs and attains a biconcave shape. The cell decreases in size to 7 μ diameter. The matured RBCs is hemoglobin but without nucleus. It requires 7 days of development and maturation of RBC from proerythroblast. So, now we'll just see the summary of events which is taking place in erythropoiesis. First, in proerythroblast, synthesis of hemoglobin starts. In early normoblast, nucleoli disappear. In intermediate normoblast, hemoglobin starts appearing. In late normoblast, nucleus disappears. In reticulocyte, reticulum is formed and cells enters capillary from site of production. In matured RBC, the reticulum disappears and cell attain a shape called biconcavity and decrease in size of to 7.2 μ diameter, and it consists of hemoglobin but without nucleus. Next we'll see what are the regulation which controls the erythropoiesis, that is the factors which are being necessary for erythropoiesis. First we'll see hypoxia. Hypoxia is nothing but a reduced availability of oxygen to the tissue is named hypoxia. It is a stimulating factor because it stimulates the erythropoiesis by inducing a secretion of erythropoietin from kidney. When our body is in need of oxygen or a condition when there is a reduced availability of oxygen in a tissue, it stimulates a hormone, namely erythropoietin, which is being secreted from the kidney. So, during which it is a sole responsible for the activation or production of RBCs. So, the next stimulating factor is erythropoietin. As we saw, it is also a stimulating factor and is a hormone which is being secreted from the kidney. That is secreted by peritubular capillaries of kidney. So, what is the action of erythropoietin? It causes the formation and release of RBCs into the circulation, like production of proerythroblast from colony-forming units of erythrocytes and developmental action of the proerythroblast and release of matured erythrocytes into blood. So these are the functions which is being carried out by erythropoietin. In response, like when a person is undergoing a hypoxia, there is a urge in erythropoietin production, which acts in bone marrow to stimulate increased red blood cell production and development of proerythroblast and release of matured erythrocyte into the blood. So, increased red blood cell production, this causes hemoglobin level to increase. So, it subsequently causes the increase of partial oxygen pressure to rise and therefore the erythropoietin level falls down. So, this is how a complete cycle is being completed. Next, as applied physiology. Due to some overproduction or underproduction, how it changes and causes some conditions in our body. First is chronic disease. It often causes anemia. Anemia is nothing but a low hemoglobin concentration in our body. So, chronic kidney disease, how it is being correlated to this? Because we have seen the erythropoietin, a hormone, which is a sole site in stimulating of production, development of erythrocyte. So when there is a damage to the kidney, there is a reduced level of erythropoietin production and reduced response to hypoxia leading to anemia. So a cycle is being left incomplete. So where a condition called chronic kidney disease rises. To counteract this or how to overcome this is by giving an erythropoietin injection is being required. Underproduction of RBCs, that is where the red blood cells are produced under the substantial level of our need. So this also results in anemia, but it differs based on the gender. It differs between the women and the men. How it is being anemia is being caused in our body by decreased red cell production or increased red cell removal from our body. Like causes like reduced red cell production may be due to lack of building block for production. That is the important needs a body require for production of RBCs like iron, B12 or folate. When there is a deficiency of these, it may result in decreased red cell production. Next, failure of the stimulus. Stimulus means we should know about erythropoietin deficiency, which may lead to chronic kidney disease. Next is bone marrow failure, such as aplastic anemia. We know after the age of 20, the bone marrow becomes a sole site for production of RBC. When there is a failure in production of RBC from bone marrow, it may also lead to a condition, namely aplastic anemia. Overproduction of RBC, that is, when RBC cells are being produced in or more ways than it required in normal, it may lead to a condition called polycythemia rubra vera. It is a myeloproliferative disease which results from dysregulation at the level of hematopoietic stem cells. When there is a more stimulus in the hematopoietic stem cell, it may result in more proliferation of production of RBC, which leads to a condition namely polycythemia rubra vera. We have come to an end. So in this video, we have seen what is erythropoiesis. It is the origin, development and maturation of erythrocytes, that is red blood cells, and we saw the site of erythropoiesis in fetal life, in newborn, children and adults. Next is process of erythropoiesis, that is from the stem cell, how that uncommitted pluripotent hemopoietic stem cell is being converted into colony forming unit of blastocyte, which is being divided into 3 subdivisions, which result in production like red blood cell, lymphocyte, neutrophil, basophil, eosinophil, platelets and so on. And stages of erythropoiesis, we have seen 6 stages, namely proerythroblast, early normoblast, intermediate normoblast, late normoblast, reticulocytes and matured erythrocyte. In this, we should remember in matured erythrocytes are biconcave in shape of diameter 7.2 mu without nucleus, and it consists of hemoglobin. Next, some of the factors like stimulating factors which is necessary for the production of RBCs, like hypoxia, which induce the erythropoietin, a hormone which is being produced from the kidney in our body. Next, we saw some of the applied physiology like anemia, polycythemia rubra vera and chronic kidney disease. I hope you all enjoyed this video and understood about what is erythropoiesis. Thank you.